The left wants you to think that Nazis are bad. The left wants you to think that Nazis do terrible things. They want you to think that people who tattoo themselves with swastikas and the SS logo, that they do horrible things like commit mass shootings. The left wants to delegitimize Nazis. They want you to think that worshippers of Adolf Hitler can only be bad. Interesting. Can you believe that? Or at least that's what it seems like all of the world's most amazing conservatives are trying to argue right now. What? A guy covered in Nazi tattoos would commit a mass shooting? Can you believe that? It's a false flag to delegitimize the good Nazis. I tried to do a Tucker Carlson impression, but I'm not good enough. No one can do the Tucker Carlson as well as Tucker Carlson. It's a shame that he's not on the air right now, because his reaction to that shooting would have been like exactly what I just said, except he would have done it in like a proper Tucker Carlson way. Americans are pretty awesome overall. I mean, there's not really much to say about that aside from that. Like, of course, there's like the 15th mass shooter who loves Tim Pool and various other like internet right-wing personalities. You guys know the drill by now. This isn't new. What is new is that they're like, what? He's a Latino! He can't be a white supremacist! It's the weirdest thing, especially because it's Nazism specifically. And a lot of people don't actually seem to know anything about Nazism, because the Nazis didn't really care much about whiteness. They didn't care about whiteness. That's why Slavs to them, who were literally like physically looked exactly the same as them, were like the lowest of the low, because it wasn't about whiteness for them. It was like the thing they played up was like Germans. And Germans being the epic Aryan race. It wasn't specifically whiteness, so it's hardly crazy that some brown guy would be fucking dumb enough to think that he can be a Nazi, especially given the fact that the Nazis weren't exactly concerned with talking about like Latin American race science. Interesting thing with that is like, it's like some liberal Americans, in order to cope with their country being the only one in the world that seems to have this issue with like just massive in the open Nazism constantly all the time, they're trying to like point to like another country as a point of reference, which doesn't really make sense because they're the only country where this happens. And you get some really weird things out of this, like tweets like this. How can he be a Nazi? He's Hispanic, pointing to Argentina. Argentina is not the country with the Nazi mass shootings. Argentina is not the country with people like putting like a Nazi flag on a flagpole in their front yard. Argentina is not the country with actual Nazi marches and like crypto-Nazi legislators and like fucking Donald Trump in the presidency. The Nazis that Argentina has aren't even like German-inspired Nazis. They're American-inspired Nazis. They want to be like Trump and shit. But Americans can only understand their own problems by projecting them onto another country that they claim is worse. And even like the original claim that this is based on is also incorrect, because the US took in, after the war, literally like 20 to 30 times more Nazis than Argentina did. Or really any country did. But for them, it's like, how can he be a Nazi? He's Hispanic. Well, look at Argentina. Can you point me to the Nazis in Argentina? Because the only people in Argentina that I know of who are like fascists are inspired by American fascism, inspired by like Donald Trump and people like that. They're not like waving swastikas and shit, and they're terrified to do so. That is a uniquely, well, it's not uniquely, but you know, it's a very American thing right now. Like the way that Americans can't understand their own issues as being theirs. They have to like they do this as well with, for example, like whenever like Republicans do something based on religious fundamentalism, they're like, this is just like the Taliban. No, it's not just like the Taliban. This is you guys. Some surveillance bill or something. Oh my God, what are we, China? No, that's you. That's America. Stop projecting. But yeah, I mean, it's just another American mass shooting. Like, how bad are you guys at politics that this happens in your country? And it doesn't happen in countries that you have worked to destroy over the course of like decades upon decades that are now like horribly poor because of it. Yeah, it's always exactly that. Extremely American thing happens in America. What about China? What about Afghanistan? What about Argentina? What are we? Those uncivilized nations? No, you're America. You're fucking America, man. In other countries, the kind of shit that happens there daily, if it happened in any other country, it would be like a massive tragedy and incredibly concerning. But for you, it's like just another day at the office. Like another day at the mall. Oh, hey, honey, look. There's our daily guy with an AR-15 shooting random people. Oh, yes. Anyway, let's go to H&M. No, we don't go to H&M. We go to Balenciaga. Let's go buy our Balenciaga. Because that's what Americans do. They buy Balenciaga. And it's especially funny that they do that as well, like the projection, because these American Nazis are heavily like referential to like Pinochet and stuff. which is a US-installed fascist dictatorship from Latin America, one of the many which they installed, some of whom took inspiration from the Nazis, and were also very anti-Semitic. So it always links right back to them. Can't trust an American to know anything else to know anything at all about the rest of the world, can ya? And then, yeah, of course, just to get all the American stuff out of the way, there was the guy who killed Jordan Neely on the subway with a 15 fucking minute long rear naked choke. That kills you in like 30 seconds. And he held it for 15 minutes. And of course that guy was a Marine. Now, if US Marines do that to like a random guy in public on the subway for asking for food, can you imagine what they did to Afghans and Iraqis? And they come home and they're like, oh, I'm so sad I was a veteran. I'm the victim here. I would love to see Americans have that energy of outrage. Like, think about that for 1 second, put two and two together, and then have that energy and that level of outrage for the people who that guy undoubtedly killed in the rest of the world for the US empire in much more brutal ways, but with the permission of the US state, which, to be honest, he might have had for that killing as well, because it doesn't seem like he's even been charged yet. But what you saw there is what those people did to Iraqis and Afghans day in, day out for more than a decade. Anyway, so yeah, America's the most fucked up country in the entire world. It's insane that place has not just erupted. It just goes to show how unrevolutionary the American people are. Honestly, at this point, what needs to be done is just round up anyone who's ever posted like even remotely edgy white supremacist Nazi shit online and hold them somewhere where they can't do mass shootings. And mass shootings would immediately go down like 90%. That's my solution to the American question. It's all loser 4chan kids.